All right, hi everyone. My name is Kai, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Digix. Thank you all for taking the time to join us for this live Q&A session. We have a very brief agenda planned out for today, and I'll start with a short introduction about who we are. So just a little bit about myself. I used to work as a currency trader on Wall Street with a global investment bank. So the 4 years on Wall Street led me to start Digix with my co-founders in 2014, as I saw the need for alternative finance and wealth preservation. So gold itself has been historically been used in this regard, and the past was a great medium of exchange. Now it's our intention to bring that back to reality. I also realized that blockchain technology was here to stay, and we could push for something great together. Now Anthony is the CTO of Digix, and Sean is our marketing director, and we're all co-founders in this business together. So Anthony, if you could give a brief introduction about your experiences, much appreciated.
Yes, hello guys. My name is Anthony Femi. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and co-founder of Digix with Kai and Sean. I came from the software development and IT security industry. I've had experience working at NASA, Intel, Wall Street banks for the past 7, 8 years, and now I'm currently doing software consultancy. And I've been involved in the Ethereum community since the very beginning. Since Proof of Concept 1, I've been involved in the public chats and the GitHub repos. And I did the first ever Ethereum transaction in Frontier, block number 46147. That is the first ever transaction ever made on Ethereum, done by me. And I'm also the developer of the Ethereum Ruby library, which allows developers to develop Ruby and Rails-based apps on Ethereum. Yeah, that's about it.
Hi, my name is Sean. I'm the co-founder here at Digix as well, and I lead the marketing and business development efforts. I previously worked in the banking sector too, like Kai, in specific the structuring and sales team of retail structured products in a global investment bank here in Singapore. And definitely I saw prospects and challenges that blockchain can bring to this industry. I joined Digix a little less than a year ago when Kai approached me to organize the first ever Ethereum Foundation's official visit to Singapore. And since then, I developed a huge interest in them and in the blockchain space. On the side as well, I took up the initiative to be the lead coordinator of Ethereum Singapore, the biggest made-up group of its kind here in Asia, standing at a total of almost 300 members and growing. I'm involved with research projects in the national scale as well.
Great. All right. So I'll just start with a brief introduction to the difference between Digix, the legal entity, and DigixDAO. So this part of Digix, the private entity, operates like a traditional Boolean dealer and provides custodial services in Singapore. We allow users to purchase and store gold with us using virtual currency. Now, this itself has been done by several dealers here in Singapore already, and it's not anything new. Now, a notable dealer would be Bullion Star. However, the biggest difference between Digix and the rest is that we store receipts and depository documents of your gold assets on the blockchain and in your Ethereum wallet, instead of storing these information on the cloud or private server that all our competitors are doing. So the value proposition of this is that it helps to prevent fraud and alteration of such data, and also makes it transferable. This could only occur with the blockchain protocol we came up with to track the existence of your asset on the blockchain. Now, more information of this asset shadowing protocol can be found on our website in our white paper. So we have launched a live beta platform on January 15 of this year, and we have seen about $40,000 worth in sales revenue in the past 2 months. And please note that this is only live beta. Our entire UI will change very soon. Okay, so what exactly is DigixDAO? Now, DigixDAO is an extension beyond the core offering at Digix, which I have just described. Its main intention is to make digital gold a useful medium of exchange online, to see that it is being used as a payment system and for future decentralized integrations. So, for instance, we want to see Digix Gold tokens being used to pay for goods and services on the internet. So recently we have a partnership with Europe's largest blockchain payment processor, Coinify, to see this to reality. We are also in talks with the founders of BitShares to allow our assets to be tradable on their platform. We also want our tokens to be used in new applications, like on Augur for making a market, and for digital gaming at FreeMyVank, and also be used to develop various lending platforms that will emerge in the coming months on Ethereum. Now, Ethereum technology is still in its very nascent stage, so the future infrastructure will be up to all of us who dare to dream to build this out together. So DigixDAO is a way for all of us to work together to achieve this scalability with the help of its supporters. Instead of a company or an individual issuing shares, a software protocol does this and issues DAO tokens as a software product sale for full transparency. The reward structure itself is also being coded and deployed permanently on the blockchain. So this allows individuals to build what they envision the future of digital gold payments to be. Instead of using a traditional top-down approach to building companies, DigixDAO would be more of a bottom-up governance where Digix, the employees of the DAO, submit project proposals to build the platform the way token holders want it. Now, token holders have the final say as to what projects should be approved or rejected, not us, not the people at Digix. So some projects that we propose includes the planned integration of EtherX, which is a permissionless peer-to-peer exchange for all digital assets on Ethereum, and as I've mentioned, payment processing with Coinify to access over 10,000 plus merchants that they already have in Europe. We have several other integrations planned as well within our Crowdsale document, so if you have not already seen it, please do so. Now, in return for your support, you get a couple of rewards. One, you will get transaction fees of gold tokens on the network based on the number of DigixDAO tokens you hold. Number two, you automatically have a voice in directing developments around the Digix Go platform by being able to pledge on project proposals with these tokens. So I'll just hand over the time to Anthony to explain how projects are being approved and rejected by DAO token holders.
Yep.
Anthony?
Hello, guys. So the way that the DAO project proposal works is it's a two-phase proposal and pledging process. The first part of it is submitting the vetted proposal to the badge holders. So the badge holders are people that have invested over $15,000 worth in the Crowdsale to get a badge proportional to the number of $15,000 investments that they have put in. They are able to submit proposals, and they're also able to vet in these proposals. So vetting is basically a small voting part that is done by the badge holders and the founders, and they can either approve or decline a project to go into the general pledging queue. So the general pledging queue is where every badge holders can then either approve or decline a project based on the number of tokens that they hold. That's the proportional number of votes that a proposal would have. And when the project gets approved, so during the proposal process, the project contains information about the project, including the summary about the project, the rationale as to why the proposer thinks that this would help Digix and increase Digix transactions. And it would contain the milestones of the project on what that project entails, and also includes the budget in the Ether amount that would be released to start the project. So if the project gets approved, the funds on that proposal object gets released, and the projects get started. So during the crowd sale, we have this contract that people will send Ether into, and that is their share of the DAO, and that Ether balance is kept in the contract and can only be released through the proposal process. So if the proposal gets approved, then that amount of funds is released. If it doesn't, then that proposal is basically canceled, and new proposals can then be submitted for other projects that could help the DAO.
What kind of projects could they possibly see on the DAO?
Yes. So basically, what we want, the way that we envision the DigixDAO to be in the general overall Ethereum ecosystem is to really build not only on Digix Core itself, meaning that anything that would help the use of the Digix gold tokens and the gold assets on our platform, but also that something that would help the rest of the Ethereum ecosystem as a whole. And we mentioned earlier that EtherX would be one of the projects that we're looking into integrating into our app, so that allows users to basically exchange their gold tokens on a decentralized exchange with other Ethereum assets, as well as Bitcoins through the BTC Relay platform protocol. So the idea is that we want projects that help the transaction fees of Digix, so that basically would increase the usage of the Digix Gold tokens. So trading would help that. Another example would be a peer-to-peer lending platform similar to BTC Jam on Bitcoin. We were looking to propose something that would basically mimic that, but more in a decentralized way using the Digix Gold tokens and the Digix Gold assets. Another project would be integrating with real-world governance and KYC solutions. So one of the biggest concerns that people have is if Digix Global itself has any things in place to put KYC and anti-money laundering protection to ensure that we are legally compliant and that we don't get shut down. So Consensus is a company that does that builds decentralized apps on Ethereum, and one of the projects that they're working on is Uport, which is basically an identity management system. Allows you to basically put avatars and other metadata information on your Ethereum address. And one of the things that we've thought about was basically to add a component of a KYC, some sort of a KYC badge, where somebody goes through a regular KYC process, they get some kind of pseudonymous badge that's attached to their address, showing that they have been KYC'd by a real entity. So that works sort of somewhat of as an oracle. So that's something that I think we see Digix would benefit from. Putting funding on developing that component, that KYC component, would be very, I think, would be very helpful for Digix and DigixDAO.
Right. I think that, yeah, the KYC components is very interesting. So for users, you can imagine as something like having a name card attaching to your Ethereum address, where receivers of your funds could actually verify you against your data that has been approved by a regulatory body. And I think some other question there was one other big point that was raised in our Slack channel was, in the future, if other tokens were to come around, like silver, diamonds, would the transaction fees be also shared on the platform? I think this is absolutely true, and this is definitely something that the DAO can help Digix Core in general to grow. Because for any projects that we would be bringing on in the future, such as silver coins or diamond-backed tokens, we can the transaction fees that will be generated from such token sales would be rebated back to the DGD token holder as well. Yeah.
Yes, so that's correct. So anything that basically that the DAO token holders, who are the investors of these projects, they would they would definitely have a say on where those transaction fees would go of anything we build. So that is that's the biggest selling opportunity, or that's the biggest opportunity for the token holders, is to have the opportunity to earn, for example, silver transaction fees and diamond transaction fees and other assets that will go on Digix.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So yeah, I think that's a great way to actually diversify where the revenue streams are coming from. The first question that we have here from one of our listeners, Terrence, is how will the tokens be distributed during the crowd sale? Will the 1.7 million tokens be distributed evenly, or will it cost a certain amount per token?
So that is proportional to the amount that you have put into the crowd sale. So you wouldn't know exactly how many tokens you would receive. You would see the percentage in real time. So as soon as you put in funds and you query your address at the DAO, you will see your percentage of the 1.7 million tokens that are being distributed, which will be distributed at the end at the very end of the crowd sale, so that the last day after the last payment goes through, a calculation is made, and the DAO tokens are then distributed proportionally to how much you put in, along with modifiers. So if you join in early, we'd have these early joiner modifiers. So those would also take into account how much you would receive.
Right. Yeah. The modifier.
So just to add on to this, we're basically running this just like Augur. Augur did something similar, and they did a really successful crowd sale in that aspect. So we're emulating them in that regard.
It allows the market to really price the tokens. So if you had more people putting in funds, the more funds that are raised, the more expensive the tokens become on the market as well. So that is sort of the rationale for doing it as distributed based on shares.
Right. Okay. The next question is: will we have information about how much is raised in real time during the crowd sale?
Yes, absolutely. Because the contract itself is the one that is holding the funds. You can actually even check the Ether balance, because even if we received a Bitcoin payment or another altcoin payment, that is converted automatically using Shapeshift and sent directly to the contract. So you would see exactly in real time how much Ether balance the DAO Crowdsale DAO has. So even the Crowdsale itself is actually a contract in Ethereum, which holds those tokens and does the calculations. So that is all. To aim for transparency, you'll be able to query that address. You'll be able to look at that in various blockchain explorers. I just had an initial chat with the Etherscan guys. They are going to help us integrate the DAO, the Crowdsale contract into Etherscan, so you will be able to see that in real time through a third-party service, and also through our application. So through the Crowdsale app website, you'll be able to see that in real time as well.
Would an investor actually know how many DGD will they receive? This will be revealed towards the end of the crowd sale, when all the funds are apportioned, and you will receive accordingly to how much tokens you invested in. Right.
Yes. So all the computations are actually queryable as well. So you can even query it through Mist. Through the Mist wallet, you can put in a value of how much you want to put in, and it'll approximate how much you would get at that current time as well. So there's some tools that you can look at that we will also make available for the users.
Right.
So they can check this.
The next question from Alesso is: how can one actually join the crowd sale? Do I need an Ether wallet, or can I use USD transactions?
Yeah, so you will need an Ether wallet to receive the DAO, and also basically we will provide you instructions on how to download Mist and install Mist to basically and also include the DAO contracts on there, so that you can check it through a decentralized way. And we also have a website where you will be able to put your tokens in a managed Ethereum wallet, which you can then release at a future time to a different address. So if you're not a person who's comfortable with beta Ethereum software, then we will make it easy for you. But we are receiving only all crypto-based funds. So any cryptocurrency that is supported on Shapeshift.io will be an acceptable form of payment. We do not accept fiat currency payments like US dollar or euro or any other fiat currencies, but we will be providing links on exchanges and other recommended places where you can convert your fiat currencies for Ether or Bitcoins or any of the supported currencies that we will be accepting as DAO payment.
Yeah, I think that question was definitely always raised during the previous webinars, regarding how to go about changing out for virtual currencies, because we always want to make this participation on the DAO available to each and every user, regardless of your background coming from crypto or from the fiat. One next question from Ismail is: what are the thoughts about Vitalik's suggestion to charge only a minimal amount for transaction fees and make the bulk of the revenue on storage fees demurrage? Okay, I think we'll answer this first part of the question, and yep. So Anthony, you have any thoughts
Yeah,
on that?
actually, that's actually a pretty interesting suggestion, and I haven't actually gotten to look at Vitalik's comment because I've been busy working on a DAO, but we might be, because nothing has really been set in stone as far as like what we could give to the users. So we're still open for all these types of suggestions, particularly from Vitalik himself. So maybe we can do it like 50-50 coming from Demiraj and 50% coming from transaction fees. We can, that might actually be a better distribution. So that you will be able to see that, Digix itself will succeed together with the DAO if it was shared 50-50. So yes, that's a pretty good idea. And I think that we'll circle back in the next couple of days to see what we can do.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I will take on a question, and we will, as a team, we will take it and investigate on this and try to and give you an answer back on either Slack channel or on our future webinars for this. The next question from Song is, I think this was also raised in previous webinars that we mentioned the Crowdsale could have an option to raise more funds every 2 years. Will the future Crowdsale be offered in the same way? I think as far as it goes for now, the future Crowdsale has not yet been confirmed in details. And Casey or Anthony, you want to add
Yeah,
more of
so
that?
so basically the contract itself would allow you to would allow anybody to basically submit a proposal to create another crowd sale. So if the for example Digix didn't raise enough funds during the first crowd sale and we want to increase more of the funds for the DAO, then we can put a vote up to increase the number of tokens and basically do the crowd sale. So the token holders that already hold the tokens would have some special modifier that would allow them to get more of the crowd sale for the second crowd sale. So that's proportional to the number of tokens that they have. I think that would be a fair way of doing that. We're open to suggestions as well as what you guys think. How we can do crowd sale in the future with the DAO.
And just to
But
add on to that, for our next crowd sale, it would subject to the approval of the majority. It's not something that we have planned and hard-coded it. It's something that would need the approval of the current DigixDAO token holders.
yes, so we want to make it fair to the existing investors, also whether or not they want to that basically quote unquote dilute their dividends by increasing it. But I think that there are situations where they think that having more funds would help Digix DAO better, providing it with more liquidity to execute on its projects. So I think that's an option for people to put together a proposal. Um,
Right. And we have a minimum target of raising at least 500,000 worth in US dollars. If the target is not reached, we will actually be refunding all proceeds accordingly to where the funds came from. Yeah. The next point was, how will private entity founders and employees be paid, and what is the plan for expanding this team? Casey, may you want to add a little bit more about what the forward-looking vision here is at Digix Core?
Right, so we currently are in talks with an Ethereum developer who could help us do our UI and build a better product. And yeah, that's basically it. We want to look for talented individuals to join Digix Core to help boost the business. Digix Core itself runs like a traditional bullion dealer, so we are getting paid from the revenues that we get for people who are willing to purchase gold and store it with us. So Digix Core's main revenue model will be in terms of the proof of asset registration fees of uploading your receipts and documentations on the blockchain. Now, the second
yeah.
part of the business itself, DigixDAO, which is in charge of making this a digital payments system, we don't get paid directly from the DAO at all. So we only get paid for any projects that are submitted and approved. So we are being paid in terms of the man hours that we need to build the product, in terms of who we need to hire to get this into reality. To be clear again, we are not getting a salary from DigixDAO at all.
Yes, we are paid as a provider, basically as a consultant to the DAO to basically manage the projects and develop on the projects if we have the talent in house to do the software as well. Um,
Right.
so yes.
Yeah, and I think on every quarterly basis, we will actually be providing a detailed report of what had happened over the DigixDAO, be it proposals submitted, projects completed, as well as the rate that we have been charging for each and every project. All the funds that we receive also will be locked up in the public Ethereum address, where we can always view in. Anthony, may want to add a bit of a point or two on
Yeah,
the.
so we also have we're also building like we have a Slack chat, and we're going to have as a DAO token holder, you will have access to an online forum where you can see the proposals, the pre-proposals, the proposals are before they are submitted to the blockchain. There's going to be some discussions there, so we want to have an open discussions on the whole process. Before things are submitted, we want to have a good proposal. So we want to help people who are putting the proposals to basically, put them together and get ideas around them before we submit them. So we want to try to be open, very open about that. And
Yep.
I think the best way to do that is through a public forum, like for the token holders, to do discussions and put comments.
Yep, and I want to jump on to the point of the following question before I address the next current one is, I mean, the rates and the payment for the people or company who actually engages on the DAO projects and proposals will be disclosed publicly in the quarterly report as well. So we will be detailing like who we engage or what kind of projects that we are paying for each entity who participates in delivering the project live. Have you considered the implications of DigixDAO for the gold ETF markets and other institutional use cases?
So I think this new crypto digital gold system that we're building opens up the market to several different opportunities. Now in the past, when eGold was around in the 90s, there wasn't an active ETF market. So we saw a volume of 2 billion annually of transactions going through eGold. However, having said that, with the influx of ETFs and all the paper gold network and the inter-brokerage system, we do still have new opportunities to expand our service offering to a different, or as a matter of fact, a parallel market. So if you look in the case of Augur, which is a decentralized market prediction market, this is something that has not existed in the past, right? So in the coming future, there will be more decentralized apps that would see a need to use gold tokens and therefore would increase the volume of transactions with digital gold. So for instance, you could make a market on Augur with gold tokens. You could do decentralized lending, which is not possible in the 90s or the year 2000. So these are just some of the things that would replace what's been offered in the current market.
Yes. So the other thing that we can see that really, I think that one of the most powerful things with a decentralized gold token system would be is like a time, some sort of like a time-based payment inheritance type thing where you can basically create a contract that has a balance of Digix gold tokens, and then you can basically say, okay, my son who owns this like this address, my daughter who owns this address will receive a time payment of Digix gold tokens at the time of my death, or something along those lines. So those type of things where you would normally need an estate planner or a third-party lawyer to do that for you. You can build that as an Ethereum contract, which would release your funds to the people over time. Collateral systems, I think, would also be can be built around it. So there's many things that I think that our tokens can be used for that is parallel to what already exists in the real world, but with more decentralization and less of the middleman.
Right. I think Casey and Anthony, we would like to we can actually address this question to the public here as well. Is what are kind of synergies that DigixDAO, a Digix token, not the DigixDAO, I mean the Digix token, the DGX Gold token, can actually be used with other dApps available. Could we speak a little bit more about the synergy that's available in the Ethereum ecosystem?
Yes. So like we mentioned earlier, Augur, which is a decentralized market that lets you basically ask any type of questions and people can then bet on their answers. So one of the things that Augur has is that they would support any tokens that are on Ethereum that support the standard token API to basically create a market. So you can ask a question in anything like what is it going to rain tomorrow, and use basically DigixGold tokens to make your bet. So that would be one of the options there. The other thing that we're looking into is working with the MakerDAO people. They're building a stable coin, so they're looking to use DigixGold as their collateral. So that might be something that another synergy that we can see like as part of the ecosystem. I think the last question is about the people and companies who work on the projects and the proposals. Will we disclose that information? Yeah, absolutely. So anything that we do, even if it's not on the contract itself, will be discussed, and we will allow people to recommend providers that we can work with. For example, if we need to work on our UI, we want to do an improvement on our UI. We can have the DAO token holders recommend programmers and other people as well. So they'll see that process both at the beginning and at the end. And also obviously we would have a project board for the DAO token holders to look at the progress and make comments on it.
Right.
So we wanted this to be a very big company.
Right. Back to the MakerDAO segment, I think there was a point that was recently raised on the Slack channel. I think Rune also mentioned that there was the huge synergistic possibilities between us and Maker. Could we talk a bit more about how the collateral DAO token system will actually work and what kind of users will actually be using?
Yeah, basically people that are looking for a stable cryptocurrency could perhaps invest in Maker and the DAI tokens. Now, I'm not fully sure how the system works, but it has a pool of funds that are being stored as cryptocurrencies. Now, cryptocurrencies themselves are volatile, but if you had diversification with an asset-backed token, then in that case, it would make it easier to keep a coin stable. So that's basically the synergies that we see working with MakerDAO.
Right, yeah. I think that's.
And then the other thing is we might at some point in the future, we actually might consider putting the DAO funds that were raised in a stable coin to basically protect us from any type of severe volatility issues with the Ether. So right now Ether is got a little bit of volatility on a day-to-day basis. We want to avoid something of like a $1,200 to $300 price drop like what Bitcoin had experienced in the past. So we're looking at maybe putting some of the funds through a proposal to put the funds in Maker through another proxy contract to protect us from volatility risk.
Yeah, right. I think Ether is right now trading around $11.40, almost like a 10% from the day before. Right, we've been seeing Ether has been fluctuating in this range over the last couple of weeks. The next question coming from Sheikh is, how will the DGD be shown in the Ethereum wallet? Do I need to create some sort of contract for any reason?
No. So there will be a contract. So if you have the Mist wallet, there's basically like a single step for you to add any other Ethereum-based tokens to your UI. So that would be the same process of putting the contract address plus the contract interface onto Mist, which allows you to add. It's the same process that we do for our DigixGold tokens as well. We have a blog post that shows you how to do that today, to add the DigixGold tokens into your Mist wallet. So that would be the same process for the DAO as well.
The question we have next is, are there any DGD of the DAO that will be pre-allocated outside of the Crowdsale for founders and employees? Yeah, I think we mentioned earlier on
yes,
that.
We mentioned in our document that there's a 15% developer release that is held in our multi-signature wallets. That allows us to basically, do things to help the crowd sale, as well as to recover some of the costs, the marketing costs that we have for running the crowd sale, because as you guys know, that there are, we have marketing costs, such as paying for our webinar service and other things that we're doing to help build the momentum for our crowd sale. So that 15% I think would help us.
Great. Yep. So please keep your questions coming through. We'll wait a couple more minutes for all the questions. Casey, Anthony, any other interesting points you want to add on for regarding this round of webinar?
Yeah, so I think because of these webinars, like we've seen our momentum really increase, getting more people involved and getting more people to ask questions. I think that the success of this DAO really hinges on the people's participation, not just with the funds that they raise, but also who they share this information with, on social networks, online forums, and other cryptocurrency and Ethereum-based communities that they can share this information, encourage people to join our webinars, participate in our chat room and ask questions, because I think that's how we really refine and really build the DAO, is through these the community feedback. I think that we've come a long way from the beginning a month ago when we started this idea.
Yeah.
The evolution of the DAO really came from public feedback and those questions. So I think that we want to encourage more questions, more suggestions, criticisms. Those are all very healthy for us. So I think that your participation is really, really useful. We're also looking for translation volunteers. We already have translated our Crowdsale site in different various languages. I think we're up to how many now? 4?
Yeah, 4 languages.
Four translation languages. So if you guys speak some other language that's not on there, please come out and reach us on our Slack chat. If you don't have the Slack chat yet, just go to our site, and we have an invite form where you can put your email, and you receive an email invite to join our Slack public chat room. If there's issues, obviously you can send us a support ticket as well through our website.
Great. Yeah.
I'd just like to take this opportunity to do a shout out for Sheep, who's in the call with us today. So he has contributed and helped us with the Arabic translation as well. So stuff like that, if the community could help make DigixDAO a success, it will become a success.
Maker is going to use Digix as collateral and create the DAI tokens. Then Digix Global is going to hold DAI instead of Ether to avoid fluctuation. Would these be reasonable to hold gold instead of DAI and cut loose on any vicious loop that may occur?
That's a possibility where the DAO can decide to buy a lot of gold and then hold that in a contract as a way to fund us. So we're open to that as well. That actually we might actually end up diversifying the actual assets held by the DAO. So it might be a certain percentage in DAI, a certain percentage in Ether, a certain percentage in gold tokens. So that is a possibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
The DAO here, we need everyone's participation, and it's always a great thing to hear from you guys what you guys want from the DAO. I mean, ultimately this is built in the spirit of everyone. So I think that's all for all the questions today. We would like to thank you for your participation on this webinar call. We will be having 2 other sessions next week on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Singapore time, and Thursday at the same time like this week on 6 p.m. Eastern time. So thank you all for joining the call. If you have any questions, you may post them on our support page on the sale website or write to us on our Slack channel. Our sale site once again is sale.digix.io, and the home site is dgx.io. So thank you all for joining the call. We look forward to speaking with you on Slack and answering questions.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all.